Hey guys, welcome back to 25 Sweetpeas. Today I have a look at the First Impressions collection from Moonshine Manny. This collection is launching on Friday, January 11th, and it is inspired by the classic novel Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. It consists of 6 shades, and all of them are named after different quotes from the book. So let's take a look at these polishes. Also, real quick before we get into it, I thought I would just mention that these will be $64 for all of the polishes, or individually you'll be able to get them for $12 each. So now let's get on to the swatches. First up, we have Induce Me into Matrimony, and this is kind of like a steelish blue. You know, it's very dusty, and this has a really pretty shimmer in it as well. It kind of picks up I want to say a green, but almost a hint of teal in there as well. And even at some angles, you get a purpley sheen as well. So it's really pretty. And as you can see, that has a really nice formula. The first coat went on super nice and evenly, but we will need a second coat. Now it is time for the second coat, which does bring us to full coverage. And if you have never used a Moonshine Manny polish before, I just want to remind you, or tell you, inform you, their brushes are amazing. As you can see, like that was like 2 swipes on my nails and it was perfect. I absolutely love their brushes. They're like the perfect size without being too big, too small, too thick or anything. They're just perfect. So there is 2 full coats of Induce Me into Matrimony. Now we have a polish called Not Handsome Enough to Tempt Me, and this one is very similar to the last one in the regards of like formula, consistency, and finish. As you can see here, it's kind of like a mossy green, and this one has a more yellowy green shimmer in it that occasionally picks up teal in some angles. Great formula, applies really nice, and there's 1 coat, and that second coat in just a moment is going to take us all the way. And here is our second coat, which, like I mentioned earlier, brings us to full coverage and the amazing amount of strokes. And I'm not sure you guys can see the shimmer on there, but I think it shows through pretty nicely in the photos. So you will be able to see that on the blog today. And again, this is 2 coats of Not Handsome Enough to Tempt Me. Now we have a Crelly, and this one is called No More of That Dull Stuff, and this is like a light lavender Crelly. As you can see here, it does go on rather thin, but it's going to build up beautifully. This has a mixture of different shapes and sizes of glitters, mainly all kind of like the hexagon shape, but we've got a variation of like a turquoise, dark purple, light lavender. There's actually some round lavender ones in there, and then of course we have some little micro glitters, and actually some of those match like the bigger lavender ones, but in addition we also have some square turquoise ones which really make the polish pop, and it is so fun as you build up each coat. So in this one we actually kind of want about 3 coats so you can get a whole bunch of depth to the polish, and it just looks super cool. But there is 1 coat, and it will start to build faster as we put on each coat. Now we are applying the second coat, which, as you can see, the Crelly Milky Lavender has built up fairly nicely. You can kind of go around and move the glitters around if you would like. I got a little too close to the edge there, but super fun. There is 2 coats. And here is our third coat, which will also be our final coat. Of course, if you wanted to have more layers of the glitters in the polish, you could go ahead and go for a 4th, but I'm really happy with 3. So there is 3 full coats of No More of That Dull Stuff. Now we're on to a super fun purple, and this one is called The Violence of My Affections, and this is kind of like your grape soda purple. It is so intense and shimmery that you guys are just gonna love it. I absolutely love it. My mom loved it. This was the one that stood out in this collection to her whenever she was around while I was opening it, and now she's wearing it because it is absolutely so much fun and eye-catching. So there is 1 coat. As you can see, it's fairly thin, but this is going to build up a lot quicker than you would actually expect, because you've put on the first coat and you're like, oh, is this going to take a bit? Really, it builds up fairly nicely and quickly, so I'm all about that. Like I said, it's kind of like a grape soda-y purple, and then we've got some flakies in there. On to the second coat. The flakies really kind of pull a pink and an orange tone to the polish, which is neat because you don't really think of that with a purple. But there is 2 coats. I can still let me start that over. I can still see through to my nail line a teeny bit, but here, this is where I'm going to kind of call it a 2 to 3 coater. It really depends on how thick or how thin you did each coat. So here, in this case, it looks like I could be done, whereas when I swatched, I did it a little bit thinner, and I did need about 3 coats. So the picture that you were seeing on the side is 3 coats, but what you're seeing in front of you right now is like 2 thicker coats. And again, this one is called The Violence of My Affections. Next up, we have a polish called You Take Delight in Vexing Me, and this is a deeper, darker blue than what we saw earlier, but it still has that same dusty element, and this has a lot going into the polish as well. So as you can see, it has kind of like a linear holographic in there, which I don't know if it's super obvious, but it is in there, as well as some shimmers. There's some micro glitters, the silver micro glitters, there's little blue micro glitters. Then we've got some bigger glitters that range kind of from a creamy sky blue to a square shaped turquoisey blue. And then we've got some flakies in there as well that are kind of the warmer toned. Really, there's just a lot on here, and I will have the actual description on my blog, so you can check that out. But I think you guys are really going to get to see some of these like come to life as we do each coat. So there was one coat, and now we are on to the second coat, which does bring us up to full coverage. And as you can see here, this polish is just super fun. This one does have like a lot of flakies and glitters in it, so you might want to tap the edge of your nail just to make sure nothing is hanging off. But there is 2 full coats, definitely full coverage, and this polish is just an absolutely beautiful, fun, different polish. Next up, we have a polish called I Will Not Be Interrupted. Now this one, as you can see, goes on super thin, very sheer, but very even. So this is one that you could actually use as a topper. However, today we are going to build it up because I think by looking at it, you can easily tell that it would behave really well on a dark shade. This one is very reminiscent to me of their October Facebook exclusive. So if you didn't get a chance to get that, this one will be available for everyone. So you might want to get this while you can because it's so pretty, so shifty, and it's super hard to describe because of all the different colors they see in it. Basically, think of a rainbow, and you're going to see all of those colors in this polish. You've got it in shimmer form, you've got it in flaky form, and it's just amazing. So we are going to build it up in about 3 coats because that does get me full coverage. I mean, 2 coats is really close. I can still see through a bit. I mean, no one is that close to your nails that they would notice because it is so like iridescent and eye-catching in the light that no one would really notice if you had a little nail line. So in a rush, you could do 2. But I am going to go ahead and do 3 because that is what I photographed and you guys will be seeing on the side. And it just looks so pretty. So now we're going to go ahead and apply that third and final coat. As you can see, that definitely brings us up to full coverage. And actually, I got more flakies on the nails. See that one? It like glows in the light. It is just absolutely stunning, beautiful, fun, and super unique and universal because like I said earlier, you could totally use this as a topper on top of any color. Of course, a darker color is going to like look perfect, but you could do it on a lighter color as well. And it's still going to be super fun and pretty. So there is 3 full coats of I Will Not Be Interrupted. And that is a wrap. Here's your final look at all of the polishes that you guys just saw swatch. I think overall this collection is super fun. It has a polish for everyone. You've got some curlies, you got some nice shimmers, and of course you've got some majory eye-catching polishes. So as mentioned earlier, these are releasing on the 11th and will be available as a full collection for $64 or individually for $12 each. You can check out today's blog post for more pictures and more details, and of course the actual descriptions that go with all of the polishes versus just my seeing what I'm seeing. So you guys will want to head over there, which all will be linked in the description box below. Also, if you are here on it is the 11th already, there will be a shop link below, and if not, the shop link will still be there. The polishes just won't be there until the 11th. So that is it for today. Thank you guys so much for stopping by and watching, and I will see you guys back here very soon with a new video. Bye!